Okay, welcome everyone to our March Council meeting for Tauranga Shire, and I'll ask everyone to be upstanding for our opening prayer. Where have I lost that to? Almighty God, we ask that you be present at this meeting to assist us in our service to the community through local government. We pray that our decisions be wise and taken with goodwill and clear conscience. Amen. Item 2, Councillor and Officer presence. We have Councillor Whitehead, Councillor Anderson, Councillor Wortman and Councillor Tolsha. Mr Taylor, our Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr Heritage, Director of Infrastructure and Environment, and Mr Florence, Director of Community and Planning. Item 3, apologies and granting of leave. We have an apology from Councillor John Pittman, and under granting of leave, I'm looking to have leave from, is it the 4th to the 28th, 29th? Going on a little trip away, so that'll be very good. And if someone would like to move those. Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that number 1, Councillor Pittman's apology for today's council. Sorry, I'll just turn that on and get the start again. Sorry about that. I'd like to move that number 1, Councillor Pittman's apology for today's council meeting be noted. Number 2, the Mayor be granted leave for the period of the 4th of April to the 29th of April inclusive. And number 3, the Deputy Mayor fill the duties of Acting Mayor for the period of the 4th of April to the 29th of April. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Do we have any disclosure of conflict of interest? Yes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have a conflict of interest in relation to 11.2 and that I need to declare.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. A conflict of interest as well with 11.2. Thank you.
Thank you. No conflict 11.2. We're starting to run ahead. All good. No other conflicts of interest? No. Item 5 is confirmation of minutes from the special council meeting held on the 12th of February and the ordinary council meeting held on the 26th of February. Was there any questions or clarification on those minutes? People are happy with those. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Tolsha.
That the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 12th of February 2025 and the ordinary council meeting held on the 26th of February 2025 be declared.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Again, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against? Carried. Item 6, petition and joint letters. We don't have any petitions and joint letters. Item 7 is public question time. No public question time questions. Item 8, informal meeting of councillors. And we have workshop meeting records for the 12th of February, 19th of February and the 26th of February. Busy month. Any questions or clarification on those records? No. Would someone like to move a motion in relation to the meeting? Yes, Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the information be noted, please.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wortman. Put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. Items 9 is organisational improvement and our action sheet reports. I'm sure we can take those as read. Any questions or clarification on the action sheet reports? No? So we have a recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move motion? Councillor Anderson.
I'd like to move that the report be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. If there's nothing further on those, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 9.2, quarterly performance reporting graphs. And again, I think we can take those as read, the graphs. Any questions or clarification on any of the performance reporting graphs? Nope. We have a recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be noted.
Thank you, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. And again, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. (9.3) is the ALGA 2025 Federal Election Campaign Report. We'll call on our Acting CEO to...
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide support for the Australian Local Government Association National Federal Election Funding Priorities. So the Association has identified 5 key funding priorities: enabling infrastructure to increase housing supply, community infrastructure, local roads, emergency management, capability and capacity, and climate change adaptation. So we are seeking to support those funding priorities, and the campaign to advocate for those funding priorities with all federal election candidates at the upcoming federal election. The recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Questions or clarification on that report? No, it's going to be a very tight budget, I'm sure, and I don't think those asks are over the top at all. I think that's quite reasonable. What's being sought for our local areas from ALGA, so I think that's a good outcome if that was successful. So we have a recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wortman. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to that motion at all?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I think we should be going pretty hard on this one, and what they put it out as putting our communities first. Couldn't speak higher than that, really, because they seem to have forgotten particularly regional ones, but anyway, hopefully they might listen.
Yep, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, reading the report, I agree with the priorities that are in the report, and I'd just like to make note of about the enabling housing infrastructure, including water and sewage treatment. As we know, our small towns to grow, we need that infrastructure, and it'd be great if the federal government would supply some money in that fund some money in that respect. And also, I take note in the report about the Disaster Ready Fund is significantly oversubscribed, and we all know that with climate change and happening, and we're having a lot more disasters occurring. So that fund needs to be increased. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wortman. Anyone else like to speak to the motion, for or against? No, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Ten is community wellbeing. There are no community wellbeing reports to present this month. 11's asset management, and 11.1's a tender evaluation on a 142 grader. And I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of the report is to provide information to support the assessment of tender submissions for the supply of a new grader as part of planned asset replacement program. The report outlines the tender process followed for the procurement of a suitable supplier to provide a new grader replacing an ageing John Deere grader. The tender was issued on December 24th in line with the procurement policies, with advertising through vendor panel portal, heavy plant and machinery equipment as part of the Municipal Association of Victoria's MAV policy. Several companies downloaded the tender documents with only 2 submissions. And recommendation as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on that report?
Just a question for you, Jamie. The staff at the depot are happy with a decision of either or either, or they want to go with one preferred?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the staff has reviewed the tender submissions and considered the values along with the operation required for the item of plant, and they're happy with the recommendation as presented. And they've put their own recommendation in.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just a question about the free roller that goes on the back of the grader. Is that we keep the existing one that we've got, or is it a new one with it?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the existing free roll is remaining.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions? We'll have a recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tolsha. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to that motion at all?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, as we know, this is a very big investment in plant, and but I'm happy to support this because Caterpillar has been a very good brand, and we've had good service out of many years of other Caterpillar equipment, and so I'm very happy to support this.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman.
I just want to add to that, through you, Mr Mayor, that the resale value of a Cat compared to a John Deere is far greater.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. At 11.2, and we'll have our Director of Infrastructure and Environment and our Director of Community and Planning leave the room while we run through this. So I'll call on acting CEO.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide Council with the information to support the assessment of tender submissions. So we went out to tender for the construction of 3 toilet blocks across the Shire at Corryong, Talgano and Bellbridge. And the report provides a recommendation for the most suitable contractor to undertake these works. And the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification?
Just through you, Mr Mayor. I think with the toilet blocks we're getting, my understanding is that they're the same as the ones on the Hume Highway, which are robust, don't need as much ongoing keep up work with it, so maintenance. And I think they're going to be a great asset for that sort of money to get what we're getting. We're going to get a great toilet facility, which will benefit everyone.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. It was good to see that there was a number of people who attended for it, and I think we're getting very good value.
Yep. If there's nothing further, well, we have the recommendation in front of us. Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented. Sorry. Oh, was that me?
No.
Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon. I haven't got my offsider.
Yeah, that's right. No one's turned it on.
I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wortman. Councillor Anderson, anything to add?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
This is a little pet thing for me, as everyone knows. Toilets, although it is a cost on council, they're so important to the community. And I have to say the directors and their team's done a great job. That's real value for money, I'm thinking,
Yep.
going by prices these days. So well done, even though they're not here. But yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm sure the community is going to appreciate them.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Totally agree with Councillor Henderson. Not only our local communities will appreciate it, but our tourists travelling through the Shire. And I have to make note of, we have a long-serving mayor in the gallery and councillor who will be very pleased with this project, I believe.
Yeah, I'm very fussy about toilets. If I can speak, Mr Mayor, I don't want them to all be unisex, so they're going to be male and female as well.
I think
Yes.
we had that discussion both
Yes.
male, female. and
Yes. That's right.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion? Well, put the motion. All those in favour? Better put my hand up. Carried. Stuck to the table. We'll bring them back in.
Yeah, Jamie's the next one.
And we've moved to 11.3, flood damage recovery works. So, Jamie, you can stay standing if you'd like. Our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek approval for awarding of contracts for remedial works approved under the DRFA to rectify damage to the municipal road networks caused by flooding across the eastern and western sections of Towong Shire Council. Summary: the report demonstrates the tender process followed for the procurement of suitable contractors to undertake flood remedial works across Council's road networks, including grading, resheeting, drainage works. The report also provides a recommendation of the most suitable contractors to undertake these works. Background history is in January and October 2022, the Shire experienced several storm events resulting in extensive damage to the municipal road networks. Officers have applied for disaster recovery funding arrangements through DRFA. In line with the delivery, repairs and maintenance caused from these flood events, 4 tenders were received and advertisement in March 2024. through local newspapers, council's Facebook and procurement policy networks. These tenders were divided into Eastern 2 tenders and Western 2 tenders received across the Shire for those ends. Council have received funding through the DRFA to conduct the flood remedial works as approved by Emergency Management Victoria, and then as per recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions or clarification on the report, councillors? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to make a comment. In the report it says where possible local suppliers are engaged, and I reckon that's terrific. And in this case, I see TCM as one of the recommendations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any further questions or clarification?
Just through you, Mr Mayor, I just think the timeline for the flood event to get the funding is just an ongoing long thing, and it's great to see now that it's actually come to tuition.
I could probably nearly put a question to the director through that. So I noticed, you know, we were talking March 24 when these contracts were put out. When was the funding actually received from the government for this contract?
I would need to come back and take that on notice, but only very recently.
That's when it wasn't March last year.
No.
It's been very
The
recent.
exact date I'd need to take on notice,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
very
no.
recently.
That's all I was requiring.
Yeah.
Very recent. Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just on that comment of Councillor Tolsher and the Mayor, yeah, we all know the flood damage occurred in 2022, and I look at the risk assessment. It says significant risk for this project is the limited time to spend the allocated grant. It's all right for them to put timelines on us to spend the grant, and they've waited 3 years to fund it though. I mean, I reckon that's a bit rich.
They won't have to worry. We want to get the work done. So, but it's been a while coming.
And I'm sure our residents are the same, living in some of these places with, yeah.
Yep. If any further questions or clarification, we have the recommendation in front of us. Would someone like to move motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? I think it was Councillor Tolsher. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion at all? No. Councillor Tolsher?
No, I said what I'd like to say, yeah.
Anyone else like to speak
Just
to the
quickly.
motion? Councillor Anderson?
I'd just like to say that I'm absolutely positive the communities will be very pleased to see this up.
Yep.
I know we've already said it, but
Yep.
yeah, particularly down there, eastern end, western end, both, really.
There's nothing further. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Is land use planning, and there is no land use planning report to present this month. 13, there are no environmental sustainability reports to present this month. 14, there are no economic and tourism development reports to present this month. 15's councillor reports, and Councillor Tolsher, Golden Murray Climate Alliance meeting held. Would you like to speak to that report at all?
Yes, through you, Mr Mayor. I think it was a good meeting, and I know climate change, people have sort of the shivers about, but I think it was really well run, really well done, and worthwhile being part of. And I noticed that in the minutes, somebody from council must have put a dot point report in the Tower on behalf of Tower that I didn't see before we went to the meeting, but we can work through that, and yeah, it was good.
Very good. Would you like to move that report?
I would like to move the report be noted.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Australia Day 2025. The Mayor's been slack, but he's got there eventually and done a Australia Day report. And I was lucky enough to be in Corryong this year, where 5 residents actually took the pledge to become Australian citizens. I think it's one of the best roles of being mayor, is the citizenship ceremonies. People are very excited, and to do it on Australia Day was a great thing as well, because there was a good crowd of people there, and it was a really good morning for all involved at Corryong. Congratulations, especially to the committee and Nadia Edwards, who does a lot of work to get that up and going, into the Lions Club for a great feed. Can I move that? Or does someone want to move that for me?
We can move it forward.
Yeah. Councillor Tolsha. And a seconder. Councillor Anderson. All those in favour? Carried. 16's urgent business. Don't think we've got any. That's very good. 17's committee minutes, Audit and Risk Committee minutes. I think we're probably happy to take those as read, but if there's any questions or clarification on any of those minutes.
Just to review, Mr Mayor, I actually represented you at this meeting, my first Audit and Finance Committee. It was good for me to get an understanding of how the Audit and Risk Committee and Council sort of interact with each other. And yeah, I actually enjoyed the meeting. Although it was a bit mind-blowing at times, it was, yeah, well received by me.
Very good. Better get used to them. Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. And any other questions or clarification on the report? I do note that there's so much in the Audit and Risk Committee minutes, and they're quite a large meeting, and a lot's discussed. And I think at the moment we're a little blessed to have the calibre of Audit and Risk Committee members that we do. So I think things are progressing very well. If there's nothing further, we'll look for someone to move a motion on the Audit and Risk. Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the unconfirmed Audit and Risk Committee minutes and resolutions from the 13th of February 2025 meeting be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to the motion at all? Yep.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just following on from what you commented, the agenda in the Audit and Risk Committee is large and covers a lot of topics, and I'd just like to thank our staff. It's a big workload, and but it's very important workload, and so yeah, I'd just like to thank our staff.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? Probably just add on as well to what I was just saying. I think we've got some really great people in the risk space within council at the moment, and I know as mayor I feel a lot more comfortable that we're meeting the requirements that are set for us in regards to that, and so I feel a lot more comfortable having those staff on board. And if we could just thank the staff Narelle for all their efforts. That'd be great. If there's nothing further, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 18, there are no council policies for review or adoption. 19, sealing of documents. Oop, did I miss one?
You did.
Oop.
One of the most important ones, Mr.
17.2, I missed one. Scroll too quick. OH&S committee meeting minutes. And again, we'll take those as read. Everyone has read those minutes. Any questions or clarification on those minutes? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We've discussed this about the vehicle that was imported from Europe with the tow ball that was to a European standard and didn't fit the tow hitch here in Australia. Do we escalate this further? Because this is a real.
Could have been.
I think this should be brought to the attention. I don't know who, but that could have been a disaster.
I agree.
And but no one would notice. Only 2 mil difference or whatever.
But it's enough.
It's enough. That's right. I don't know. I'm not sure who we bring that to the attention of, but yeah.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm sure we had the discussion, and I don't think it was imported with that tow ball on the vehicle. I think it was put on at the place of a dealership where a guy got the wrong ball and put on. So I think there's got to be clarity whether they're a standard 50 mil ball and get rid of all the others, which is probably not our call.
Yeah.
But through that recommendation, I reckon we went back to the supplier and actually said, and they changed their process as well. So I think something has been done about it.
Yep.
But I don't think individually, as a council, we can do anything about it except have our own internal checklist when we get a vehicle that it is a 50 mil ball and not a 48 mil. And I think that's in process as well. So I think we have mitigated as much risk as we can.
Yep.
But yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks,
A lot of words
Councillor
there,
Tulsa.
but yes. Sorry. Sorry.
Are there any other questions or clarification on OH&S committee meeting minutes? I'd just like to, when we read those minutes, there seems to be a lot of stuff that's getting, like we've had in previous minutes, like it seems like the OH&S stuff might be from 6 or 12 months ago, but yet it's still coming up again through the minutes. I'm just wondering if we can, why that needs to happen, or if we can just have a chat about that, or a report come as to why the OH&S minutes are over such a long period. They don't seem to be just within the time frame of the meeting. But, yep.
Through you to you, Mr. Mayor. If it's not been resolved, it would still be on the agenda.
Right.
However, if requested, we can condense to cover off on what are the new. Sorry, we can condense into the report. What are the new issues since the previous meeting?
So probably a good thing if we could just have a discussion at a workshop about how that report's presented. Yep. Beautiful.
And is there, sorry, through you, Mr. Is there any way that we can get an understanding of why it's been on there so long? Whether it's, I don't know, financial, whether it's lack of, or...
Yep.
Yeah.
Did we have
We need a motion.
a motion? got a little confused there in the end. If there's no further questions or clarification, a motion, Councillor Tolsha.
That the unconfirmed minutes of the Occupational Health and Safety Committee held on the 20th of Feb 2025 been noted.
Thanks, Councillor Tolsha. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Anything further to add, Councillor Tolsha? The motion?
No.
Would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor
Stand
Benson? Anyone else like to speak to the motion? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. And again, 18, there are no policies for review or adoption. We don't have any documents to seal. Confidential items? Nothing. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance at the meeting today and call the meeting to a close.